This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 4 throughout the afternoon. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan. We've been at Hamilton Golf and Country Club all week, the RBC Canadian Open, but now it is go time.
Yes.
We are on the rink hole at 13. I feel like we have to whisper
you
here.
should Jim Nansen a little bit,
I
don't
have
you
to
think?
because Tommy Fleetwood is about to tee off, and
Your
Tommy
boy.
is my boy.
Your
He is
boy.
your boy.
He did point at me when he got up to the tee
There,
box.
now
I don't
we've
know if
got
you
some
saw
time.
that, but Tommy's throwing darts. I think he's having a good time. Our boy Sahith Thagala's here. Corey Connors. Connors is getting a huge kind of hometown reception. I just saw Mac Hughes, Adam Hadwin. Hadwin looked at me and said, great playing yesterday. I said, keep it up, pal. You're rolling out here today.
And you just mentioned some tour pros. I'd like to acknowledge what I call a pros pro.
Oh, yeah?
We had the pleasure of visiting Dundas Valley Golf and Country Club today, and we were treated by the head professional who joined us, Johnny Kirkwood. And he was a legend.
He was such a legend. We love that guy.
Describe him. I need to know what this
Just
guy's all about.
Everything you would expect.
Yeah.
Just the king of hospitality. Had a short game that was electric.
That up and down on 18 was probably the best I've ever seen. And
Worthy of a whisper. Worthy
of
a whisper. The up and
as
down
soon as
that we
he was
saw.
there, I was out of the hole and I was looking at him. I said, "There's Kirky Kirkland," and he had to sizzle that wedge, and he did it. He did it. Johnny Kirkland did.
It was beautiful. It was a perfect tease for what we're witnessing with the professionals at Hamilton Golf and
And that's
Country
how
Club.
I'm going to remember him forever.
Yes.
A pro's pro.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the day at Dundas Valley.
We love John. We love Kirky. We love Q. We love Lou. All the boys. Everyone there. It was unbelievable hospitality. I feel like I'm a man of the people here in Hamilton. I've been here for 2 days. I haven't been home. I've been staying here. I was in the Pro-Am. I was at the Golf Canada CEO reception yesterday. Lawrence Applebaum. Lots of hospitality.
Shaking hands, kissing babies.
I am a man of the people out here, and a lot of people are buzzing about, I guess, the show being here, about the field. Roy McIlroy was 400 today, hungover.
Yeah,
he said after the round.
He admitted it.
Yeah, he's like, it was my caddy's birthday, and we were crushing red wine last night. Those are my words, not his. But basically, this guy went out, twirled around Hamilton, shot 400, and was hungover. That's probably concerning if you're the rest of the field.
Yeah. Yes, because
he's going to shoot 60 tomorrow for fun.
He's going to have a good sleep. He'll get some hydration, and you're right, for fun, he's going to chew this course up.
Yeah, but it's great to be here, man. It's a great crowd. You know, the Golf Canada, the PGA Tour, they do an incredible job here setting this up. The rink hole, there's tons of electricity here, and we just saw Corey Connors come through, Thagala come through, my boy Tommy Fleetwood. I know Mackenzie Hughes and Shane Lowry, your boy, he's out here, and Adam Hadwin, they're coming through soon. So there's
Shane Lowry had some putter issues earlier today. I was watching him. He had a couple short ones where it was like, whoa.
I just saw him miss a short one on 10.
Oh, yeah?
And he was not happy about it. So anyway, we'll keep you up to date on what's going on here throughout the afternoon. We're people watching, right?
We are.
And people are watching us, and they'll be yelling and screaming into the studio
we
throughout
can't
the
control.
day. And
but see,
that'll be
what?
fun. We'll have a good time with it.
The new, the yelling of the words, get in the hole, all of that type of stuff. I feel like it's Hayes is a fraud because we've heard that 25 times.
I've heard ball in air. A tee shot went off right here in the air. I heard Hayes is a fraud while it was in the air.
A guy in the stands over there, literally, as they were in the backswing, yelled Hayes is a fraud.
I know. It's like the new mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
Hayes
possibly
is a
the
fraud.
dumbest thing you can
Mashed
ever.
potatoes is the dumbest thing you can yell.
Yeah,
What does
I
that mean? Like, why is that something that pops in your mind?
I got to be honest. If you and I, we've obviously been to this tournament, but if we were at a tournament as spectators, and I knew nothing about what your etiquette was about, and you tossed out mashed potatoes, I would secretly walk to my car and I'd be at my hotel and gone home. I wouldn't do it.
I would immediately think ill of you. Like, I would immediately say, this person's
It's
not
a man
for me.
conversation to say, why would you say that?
You're radioactive immediately.
But you know what?
Not someone I want to be associated with.
Remember when Elaine was dating Putty and he showed up and was a face painter?
That's exactly what it is.
If you don't know something about somebody and all of a sudden...
That would be horrifying.
Their mashed potato guy or their guy like, jersey guy, face paint guy. If you don't know...
Fight guy's awkward.
Wow.
Like, if you're going out to a sporting event and the guy's picking fights and he fights, you're like, what the hell are you doing?
And he's a grown out. He's an accountant. And he breaks his hand.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Like you see that in beer league hockey, which is equally as ridiculous, but I guess it's a physical sport. Maybe someone, you got hit from behind or something, or the other person engaged. It's still absurd. It's why we collectively have all said, I can't do it because I can't be with grown men fighting on the ice at beer league when it's midnight on a Tuesday and no one's in the rink. And even the Zamboni guys, like, can you just leave?
Yeah, just
I want to turn the lights off. Can you leave? You guys are dropping the gloves and fighting. But when it's in public life, like in the stands, and it's like you're challenging people to fights, you're like, how did this happen?
There's a legend.
How are you wired that way where this is happening right now?
It's not my thing. But I think we've all had buddies. And
it's part of their night out.
But you could speak to this, too. If you ever played with somebody or signed a contract or someone said, I will buy this bar and kick you out. Say that to the bouncer. Have you ever heard that?
Oh, I've heard.
That's an obnoxious
I will
line.
buy this bar and I will kick you out. One of our guys, I should probably, Strutty said that one night.
Strutty dropped it? What kind of contract was he signing?
It wasn't, though. That's the problem. I swear. Like, now he's going to deny it, but I swear it's like early on when you sign your contract, it's like, I'll buy the bar and I will fire everyone here.
Yeah.
Basically, where somebody won't give you a drink at the end of the night or something like ridiculous like that.
We got to bring that up with Strutty.
Strutty's going to have to address that out. But that's a serious accusation.
I've heard that several times from several people. It's like, you know what? You don't want to let me back in. I'll buy this bar and I'll fire you. And at the end of the night, the bouncer's walking you out going, you still didn't buy the bar. Now get the hell out of here, you loser.
Exactly. Actually, you have an outstanding bill.
Exactly.
And do you have cash? What do you have? How are you paying for it?
But usually it's some jackass in junior who thinks he's a good player. And
those are the moves. Like, I can relate to that in junior. The one guy or the multiple guys on the team that would sign their pro contract, go to camp and come back with a new truck.
Right.
And you'd ask them, like, what was the bonus? And they'd say $150,000.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's, like, I get that's a lot of money for 18, 19-year-olds, but do you think you can live off that the rest of your life?
No.
You just bought a $60,000 truck.
Yeah,
cash.
exactly.
You're 19 and playing in the O.
I was playing.
And I don't know if you're going to make it.
I was playing with a guy who literally got off the phone and hung up and said, I just signed with Chicago. Drinks are on me. It's not like the money arrived over the phone.
Right.
He had to use my credit card to buy a bunch of drinks that night because he was in debt.
I know you.
So funny. I mean, I was proud of him, but he was like, drinks for everyone. I'm like, why are you doing that? You just signed. You're a seventh rounder. Why are you buying the bar?
How about drinks for the boys?
Exactly.
Like, stick to
for
our
the
group.
Table, not everybody.
Yeah, stick to our group.
Yeah, that's we all have buddies who maybe step in it or get a little bit too aggressive on a Tuesday night out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're in one.
Yeah. Well, it's happening here in this golf tournament. Work people are saying, yeah, let's go to the RBC Canadian Open, and you're seeing one of your colleagues that's had 12 beers since 9 a.m., and they're doing stuff that's not at the workplace, and you're like, oh, that's that guy.
I just saw a buddy of mine that said he's going to Uber back to the city, and I'm like, okay. Like, I'll talk to you before the show. Don't come back.
Yeah.
Love you, man, but I know what your plan is. You got to leave here because I don't want you standing there at 7 o'clock asking for a ride, which I can see coming.
Yes.
And then I got to go through the city to get them home whatever. But that's basically what's happening. Like, the people that have come up from Toronto, it's like if you're coming up and boozing, you're taking a cab home. Like,
$280
it's a big
Uber
commitment
home.
to get back into downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we've got Bob Weeks coming up. Weeksy will join us around the table, get his take on day one of the RBC Canadian Open. James Duffy, the Hall of Famer. Duffy's got a Hall of Fame air to him, man. I saw him earlier. I said, Hall of Famer, it's great to see you. He did not ask me to not call him that. Like, he was more than willing to be called, just like our boy Kirky loved being called Pro. Hey, Pro, what do you see here on this read? He loved that.
So
that's the proper respect.
A
Whenever you're playing with a golf pro, you say, hey, Pro, what's the read here? They love that little title.
Was he the maestro?
They love that title.
Was it the maestro from Seinfeld?
It was a part. He was not Bob Cobb. Yeah, you had to. I think Pro was more.
And I don't know if you realize the one.
John, it's
I don't know if you realize the one thing that Kirky did that I had the utmost respect for. On a short par 3, he teed his ball 6 inches in the air and hit a wedge and flushed it. Have you ever seen anything like that, dude?
I've never seen a 3-inch tee with an iron.
a low
iron.
A wedge.
This guy was hitting an MG4.
When I first saw
it was as high as that last.
When I first saw it, I'm like, we're going to see a trick shot or something here. And he flushed a low draw. Kirky, if you want anything, a lesson, you want to tee it, you want life advice, go see our boy
But you
Kirky.
got to call him pro.
You got to call him pro. As you should, out of respect.
That's the only respect he deserves.
Right. I want to be called host, personally, but I know that's not going to happen. But we got Weeksy coming up, JD coming up, our boy Steve Sandsy. I saw Sandsy last night. He's loving Hamilton. He's loving the hospitality.
Yeah.
And we were watching the Oilers game last night. And I don't know what's going on with this series. Like, you heard Gretzky after. He's like, I don't know what to say about this. It's the same story. Yeah. Dallas comes out, and you're like, okay, let's see. Well, obviously, we know where this is going.
I thought there was going to be 8-0 for Dallas. Yeah. Like, 7 minutes in.
Pull Skinner, 8-0. It's game over.
And see you later. And we as well have the handshake line here.
Yeah,
and wave
over.
to the fans.
And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, they're back in this game.
And they dominated.
Yeah, after that
they played unbelievable.
Yeah, they played well.
Credit to them. Like, that's what they needed.
Well, and, the storyline coming into it was Skinner. It was Darnell. Darnell Nurse was -2 before we even sat on our couch.
That was scary.
Watching him sit on the bench after the second one, I'm like, this guy might skate off the ice. Like, you could tell he was
chop somebody and go, I'm out of here. Like,
one off his ass. What's he going to do?
There was nothing he could actually do.
You could tell his body language was like, I can't believe this. I know what's coming here. I know that people are going to blame me for this.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because even the first goal, that's not on him. Like, that's a straight shot. You want your goaltender. It's a great shot by Johnson, but you do need a save. This one is going
just a fluke.
8 feet wide, and it hits in the ass.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's sitting down saying, I can't, there's nothing I can do right now. The universe is against me.
Yeah, but he, 12
I thought he played
hits,
really well the rest of the way.
But it's funny because it doesn't matter. He has a really good game last night, but if he has a poor one, then it's right back, right? Yeah. He's a guy that's got a target on him, but I was happy for him, and you could tell the team was happy. I don't know if you saw some of the interviews afterwards.
Connor Brown was
like,
him up,
man, you guys are, he's a heartbeat of our like he was kind of going at the media saying, like, you guys are giving him a lot of heck, and he's our guy, and we got his back. And
listen, I appreciate the camaraderie. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Draisaitl's post game after the game.
I watched it. Yeah,
that was just a guy that he's been in the league for 10 years, and I loved his confidence. Like, we talked about what DeBoer said the game before. Draisaitl basically said that afterwards, but also conceded. It's like, Dallas is good, Florida's good, New York's good, but we feel if we play our best game, we're tough to beat. And I just thought he handled it really well. Like, wasn't uneasy.
I thought the last couple of years he's been really good, like with the way he speaks and what he addresses and how there's no BS, and he just comes with it.
Yeah,
I have an appreciation for his media.
He's impressive.
He just, you know what it is? It's just he's a straight shooter. But there has been times where he's had that, back and forth with the Edmonton media where he fights with them. Was it Jim Matheson? Why he's so pissy?
Called him pissy,
but he's a straight shooter, and what you see, German guy kind of shoot from the hip, but he does have that confidence. I will say that. Like, and he was articulate with his answers last night because he's saying, listen, you know what? They're a good team over there. We're trying to win. They're trying to win. We had it tonight. Like, you don't have your best game every night, but you try and find it.
And I fully expect Edmonton not to go into Dallas and smoke them the next game. I expect Dallas to respond. I have loved the responses of all the teams because of that belief that it's like when we play our best, we're gonna have a great chance to win. Don't be shocked if Dallas crushes them the next game.
Possibly. And conversely, don't be shocked if Edmonton wins. I think it likely goes back and forth, but I think Edmonton's proven that they're more than capable of doing that. And I think if you're a hockey fan right now, this is the best case scenario. It's the best 2 out of 3 to go to the Stanley Cup final.
For both sides.
For both sides.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. There may be 6 more games. There may be 4 more games.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to wait 25 days to play in the finals.
Dude, they sent the schedule out today. Game 7 of the Cup final
August 31st. You're going to have to.
Basically in August. It's June
ridiculous.
24th. June 24th.
The draft is
game
2 days
7.
later or something. 4 days later.
Who's running this operation?
Dude, if you win the Cup, you can't even basically have a parade.
Well,
because organizations have to get to the draft.
The GM is in.
Yes.
That's the GM will be hoisting the cup and later interviewing a first-round draft pick.
Right.
that he's going to take 4 days later in the draft.
Yeah.
And they've got to go to Vegas.
Like
why on earth would they do that? It should be 14 days, June 14th.
It's a TV thing. There's
TV,
a lot of 2
US
days off
TV.
in between. They do that with the NBA Finals as well. They always try to expand it. ESPN, TNT, they're going back and forth, back and forth. Just got so quiet in here. It's so awkward when it gets quiet. But
go down to Jim Nance.
Really
go down to the Jim Nance level.
Who do we have here? That looks like Cameron Young. Cameron Young.
Okay, there
Cameron
we go.
Young.
Now it's loud
it's
enough.
ESPN and TNT. Like they're the ones pushing for it. And I guess it got started later than it generally would. And
Still,
it's not going to
ridiculous.
change. Like it's not going to go the opposite way. Perfect world. I think we all would like to see it end probably the end of May, start in September, end in mid-May, end of May, and that's your hockey season. But it's not going to work that way because they want to avoid the NFL. They want to avoid college football. Baseball's in a kind of dead zone there.
But it's
that's
to me,
that's where they're at.
It's stretched out so much. There should just be a hard drop dead date no matter what. Like I know end of May is.
We've all three of us have said it. Why do we bother even saying why not do this or that? The fact that you're going to hand out the cup on the 24th potentially of June, when the other two series and there's only going to be 2 teams left in 3 or 4 days, that's ridiculous, man.
Well, and you've got Canada Day coming up. You've got 4th of July. People are in summer mode.
Yeah.
Like that's what really I don't understand. Like
the cup should be handed out. Let's be honest. It should be handed out at the end of this month. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. It should be done.
It should be
like
June,
this weekend.
June
It should be
1st.
the end of the Cup final.
Yes.
By the end of May, at the end, at the longest date, the furthest date should be the end of May, undoubtedly.
But I always thought, okay, we were going to get back to that. Like COVID messed with everything, and then we're chasing the schedule. So I had no problem. You're chasing the schedule, and eventually it's okay. We're going to get it back set. But now you got it back set, and they've extended it.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me about it.
I know, it's silly.
That's what I'm struggling with because it's, I get it. It's way out of our pay grade. It's way out of our control. But I think if you had, as players, if you had a hard date, it's like there's no chance you're playing past June 7th.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. We always want to say June 1st. I think that's being overzealous. But even if you had a hard date, it's like no matter what, June 15th, hockey's done.
Well, but I mean, perfect
too long.
world.
It's still
you
way
could
too
flip
long.
everything. You could, why not make, instead of July 1st free agency, make it June 1st? You know what I mean? Like you could flip everything out and hand the cup out mid-May, draft end of May, because like junior,
season
college
starts
hockey,
when
everything's done.
kids go back to school.
Yeah, exactly. Labor Day camps open up second, third week of August.
Yeah.
Labor Day, boom, you're playing hockey,
Yes.
but it's never going to happen. It's not going to work that way. So it is what it
it's
is.
a moot point, yeah.
We're live at the RBC Canadian Open. We're going to be up on TSN 4 throughout the afternoon, but until we get there, we're on TSN Plus. We're always on TSN Plus. So you got to get yourself TSN Plus if you want to be connected to the show, watching the show every single day. We're live in Hamilton. Bob Weeks will join us, get his take on day one that continues. There's still a lot of great players out there. We'll get you an update on what's going on with the leaderboard, where the Canadians currently stand. We got Weeksy coming up. Steve Sands, annual tradition of Sandsy joining us around the table. James Duthie, the Hall of Famer, will join us as well. OverDrive continues live from the RBC Canadian Open, TSN 1050, and on TSN Plus.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
That's my way. Do it like that and I repeat. Don't be scared, I ain't afraid. Just like that, come my way. That's my way. Do it like that.
We got to keep it low profile because the Canadian boys are on the tee.
Oh.
And I just got a legit tip of the cap from Adam Hadwin.
No, you didn't.
Did you see it?
I saw that, but I think it was directed at me. I played the Pro-Am with him yesterday.
Dude, you weren't even looking. I swear.
I was staring
gave him
right
the
at
Tiger
him.
Woods.
He's got his sunglasses
He
on.
gave the tip of the cap. He was just
You know who he
fixing
probably-
his-
post
fixing
match
his
meeting.
hat.
You got to ask him who he was giving the tip of the cap to.
Okay,
me
that'll be
or
the
him.
first
He
question.
was
Thank you.
fixing his hat. He wasn't looking at you
Dude,
guys.
I went like this.
You know who it probably was at?
I gave him a trucker salute.
Probably at Bob Weeks.
Yeah, it's not at
Wasn't
you
at
guys.
us. I think he cares about us. Weeksy is probably like, you are worthy of a tip of the cap. Bob Weeks around the table. What do you make of this, Weeksy? Like, do you...
This
It's
is
pretty
good.
cool, the rink hole
This
here.
is good, and this is just Thursday, and it's like half full, and it's really loud already, so I can't wait for tomorrow. The Friday afternoon crowd's usually the best.
That's when it gets rocking.
Yeah.
And McElroy and the boys are coming through in the afternoon
But you know
tomorrow.
what I said, what they have to do, you know how they sing songs and stuff? When they got to sing Don't Stop Believin' when Rory gets up here like he did after he won the Zurich.
Oh,
See, he'll
nice.
join in.
Great idea. We should
How
do that
good
with
is
Shane
that guy?
Lowry, actually.
Yeah.
too.
How about
Lowry's
that
on the
guy
deck.
going out and getting plastered last night, and he just wheels in here at 7 in the morning and shoots 66?
And my understanding is he hadn't played the back 9.
He had not played the back 9.
He has not seen the new Renos.
No.
No idea on the back 9. He's hung over and he shoots
What
at
time
400 parts.
What time did he tee off at? So they brought him.
7:40.
They wheeled him in here like Hannibal
But the
Lecter
idea
there,
of the
basically.
caddy saying to the player, do you want to check out the undulations on the greens on the back? And he just says, no.
No, let's go grab a bite and
drink
have
wine.
a couple bottles of red. That's got to be terrifying, Bob. If you're other players in the field and McIlroy's doing that.
He actually came off in the interview that we did with him, and he said he didn't play very well. He didn't really think he played very well. He didn't even make a bogey, and he's like right there. So if he gets in that red gear, look out.
How's the course playing for everybody?
You know, the guys this morning, I think, had it a little tougher. There was a lot of breezes, a lot of gusts they were talking about. It's still soft. The greens are holding. They're not quite as firm as they were, say, when you guys were playing in the Pro-Am. They started to dry out with the wind and the sunshine.
Yeah.
But it's not, it looks like it should be easier than it is, but you got 2 guys at 7, and then, kind of the chasers after that.
That's good, though, because everybody was saying, like, it's one of the shortest courses on tour this year, and everyone was like, they're just going to destroy it.
Yeah.
And Weirzy was talking about it yesterday. The runoff areas around the greens, they look like they're really fast, and they're causing problems for the guys, which is a good defense.
Those runoff areas have been causing a lot of problems because there's a lot of places, there's divots like where they're all grouping up, and they didn't cover those up. Normally during a practice rounds of tour, we'll put like a netting down so guys don't hit off that area, save it a bit. But there's tons of, like this hole we're looking at right here. If you miss it right on there's a short fall off, and it's just like a divot farm in there.
Yeah, they don't seem to have too big of an issue with it. This is awkward for us, Bob, because there we go. All right, there's a good connection. Who's that? Mackenzie Hughes. Every time they're up. I don't know how we're going to do this for 2 days.
Listen, we're just going
to have to plow through it. But
it's live TV, and we're in a great
Maybe
spot.
send us on the site survey next year.
Yeah, maybe we'll come and check it out. But yeah, I was talking with Jeff McDonald, before the show about that. Like, everything's about power and length, and you roll the ball back and all that. Like, the best way to protect a golf course is the greens.
Yeah.
Like, get wild undulation greens that are fast, greens that run off, false fronts, stuff like that. These guys are humans. Like, if they're challenging, that's going to throw them off.
Hey, before you answer, Bobby, don't get crazy, because they could still go nuts on this place.
Well, of course they can roll putts.
Sure.
But I'm talking in general. Like, these guys just hit spots off the tee, and they find the fairway, and they hit it so flush. If it's around the green where you can really throw them off.
It's a, you can make it as tough as you want on the greens. That's all you have to do. It could be perfect in the fairways, wide fairways, no rough and stuff. But if the greens are tough and they're fast and they're not holding, if they're bouncing big time, and these ones, I'd hate to see them if they're really firm, because they're going to be all over the place.
We got no more rain in the forecast.
No, so by Sunday it could be good. I mean, you could see these guys, get to 10 or 12 or 13 under and then start going backwards even.
Yeah, that would be great. Bob Weeks joining us here at the RBC Canadian Open. We're live at the 13th hole, the rink hole here, Hamilton Golf and Country Club. Sam Bird's 7 under. He's in the clubhouse. We were talking about him earlier in the week. Like 2 years ago, he looked like he was going to be the Scheffler. Like, he was the guy that started running off all these PGA Tour wins, and he was flying up the world rankings. And it's like he's going to win 5 majors, and this guy could be the number 1 player in the world. And the last year and a half, it's completely fallen off for him. But he's an RBC guy. Obviously, he was great today. I think it'd be significant for the tournament, but also for him and his career to get back on track here. Yeah,
I talked to him after his round today. He was, he had 2 eagles on the card. He hits it so far. There was one, this is the big bomb one that he had out, started off, and the other one he hit close. It was like a four footer. But he said, if you're hitting a 4-iron for him, he's a long hitter. If you're hitting a 4-iron into soft greens and you can attack, you're going to have a lot of eagle chances, and especially birdie chances. But that was kind of what he was able to do today, and just, he said, like, he's been really not playing well the last 6 weeks. He started off okay, had a bunch of top 10s, but now he's starting to putt a bit, and that's what happens.
Yeah, and these guys, there's 2 par 5s on the course. They're going to chew them up.
Yeah.
Like, if they get off the tee properly, they're hitting irons in. Like,
if they don't walk off the green with a birdie on a course that provides only 2 of them, they're probably pissed off.
It's a par 4.5, really, is what it's playing to.
Yeah, they're not happy. Bob Weeks joining us here. McIlroy, though, like we joked about him being hungover, but the presence of McIlroy, because there's a lot of other really big names, good players, major winners, tournament winners, but he separates from everybody else. And it's so significant for this tournament, for the country, Golf Canada, everyone, that he actually continues to come up every year.
I was talking to I won't say who it was, but a significant person at RBC, and I was saying, are you going to, they got this new date. It's an awkward date because you got a U.S. Open sandwiched by 2 signature events. So there's a lot of guys who are going to opt out of this week. And I said, you're going to sort of entice some guys to come up and play the field. And they said, well, we really only need one. And that's Rory McIlroy, and you get him in here, and it really makes your whole tournament to it.
So there's a signature event next week, and then the U.S. Open,
and then another signature event after that.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks in a row.
This is like just a disaster of a date, and that's one of the things that RBC is pushing. They said, they spend more money than anybody but FedEx with the PGA Tour, and they get this crummy date, and they're trying to push and say, look, we deserve a better date. You can't make the RBC Canadian Open a signature event because you can't have an open championship, a 70-person field fighting for the national championship. So they're just saying, look, give us a better date, and this shows you what happens when you have this crummy date. Who shows up?
But the question is, Bobby, what would the date be?
It can't be earlier than this. This is the earliest it can be.
I totally agree. It can't.
It can't be.
Right.
You can't. 2 weeks ago, it might be minus weather or something. You can't do it.
It was pretty cold this morning when they teed off.
I don't think the course would be a good enough condition to have it 2 weeks ago.
The week before the U.S. Open or the week before the British Open or 2 weeks before would be it. But then you got to shuffle somebody else out. Like, do you tell Jack Nicklaus, hey, sorry, move your Memorial Tournament?
That ain't happening.
Right. So it's not as easy as it looks. Everyone says, oh, this should be the date. But everybody wants good dates, and we're sandwiched in a small window where we can have them.
Yeah, it is frustrating because they've adjusted the whole schedule, and it's only going to continue. Like if PGA and LIV come together and it goes international and all that. I don't know where Canada's going to fall in line with that, where you've got people pushing for Asia to have more events, South America to have events, Australia they want to get back in the fold, South Africa they want to get in the fold. But it used to be in September, and I'm not sure they love that either, and now they've moved up. But I just don't see how there's ever going to be a perfect date, so to speak.
But you can have a better date. You can have a better date than this one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And, as you said, 5 years, 10 years down the road, it's the PGA Tour or the World Golf could look like F1. And you have one big tournament in every stop, and maybe the Canadian Open morphs into something different. But right now, it's great. It's fun. Look, there's a lot of people out here walking around. But you'd like it last year or the year before with all those great fields we had.
We're talking to Rex Hoggart on Monday, and he was talking about the two tours combining for 15 or 16 events, Bobby. Like, what is that going to be? Like, is that going to be the PGA Tour when they get together all around the world, or what the hell is it going to be called?
I don't know what you call it, but it's not going to be the PGA Tour, and it's not going to be LIV. It's going to have to be something new. But listen, you've got this group of sports team owners that have plowed $1.5 billion into the PGA Tour. You got the PIF with bottomless pockets. If they come together, it could look pretty good. But I don't know how you get them all together, and I don't know how you solve the small problems. Like, do you let the LIV guys back in, or do you
is it going to be
say,
world rank? There's obviously got to be world ranking points
world rankings,
available.
You just wipe it out and say, starting anew. This is the new Super Tour, and we're going on here. Sorry, PGA Tour. Sorry, LIV. No more team events. No more, staggered starts and all this stuff, and just put them out there and start it out new. I think lots of guys would be happy if there was some resolution. I don't have the perfect one, but you talk to all these guys off the record when they're having glasses of wine, and they just say, man, it's just like so frustrating because we're not getting anywhere, and both sides are kind of losing.
Is it about cash though, or what is the ultimate? Like, is cash is king with all of this, or
in certain ways it is? But I mean, Mackenzie Hughes was talking the other day saying, like, I didn't play golf to win $10 million, but I want to be on the best tour. I want to play against the best players, and if you get $10 million, I'm sure they're not going to turn it down. But it's become so much about money right now that it's hard for these guys to kind of focus. And you're seeing it a little bit of, not in the Canada, actually our TV ratings are up, but down in the States, some of the TV ratings are dropping in certain events. So
remember Tiger Woods, like when he was just dominating, I think his winnings at the end of a year were like 6 or 7 million.
Yeah.
And he won every time he teed it up. And Scotty Scheffler's won 25 already this year.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And last year he made that much as well. He's going to make 50, 60 million on the course in a couple of years.
Scotty Scheffler's won more this year than Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer won in their careers combined.
Yeah.
Wow. So there you go.
Yeah, it's crazy the kind of cash we're talking right now. Bob Weeks with us. How about Mike Weir, 2 under today?
Where is he?
I mean, that's another thing. Like we talk about McIlroy making the weekend, that's huge. Having Mike Weir make the weekend would be really significant.
31. This is his 31st time around, and he still looks pretty good. He says, and he admits, I don't hit it so far, so I got to hit it in the fairway. He's still got one of the best short games all time, and his putter is starting to work for him again, which is key for him. But, I mean, just making the weekend's going to be a bonus for him. He's trying to keep his game together while he's managing this international team for the President's Cup, and man, he's got a lot of stuff on his plate, stuff that I never would have thought of. Like he's arranging like.
You got to pick the clothes, Bobby.
Pick the clothes. You got to arrange where the wives going to go on their trips, their daily trips, and I mean his buses. And now he said that's the first year. Now he's kind of working on course setup and who's going to make
manager.
the team.
That's basically what he is. He's a tour manager.
He's like that, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's trying to manage that and keep his game together, and it's not easy.
Well, that's pretty cool though. Him going at 2 under is pretty significant.
Yeah.
And, we'll see what happens with him tomorrow. But in terms of the other Canadians, Pendrith, he shot a 1 under today. Mackenzie Hughes is on the course right now. He's at 1 under. What do you think the chances are of us going back-to-back here? It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not looking great right now. I mean, Nick Taylor had a struggle, and I wasn't surprised at that. He's had so much on his plate this week, even this year. Hasn't been playing great in the last 3 or 4 months, but there's still a good crop of Canadians. They might still pull something through. We'll see, but it's not great at the moment.
Yeah.
When that happens, Bobby, what do they need? Do they need a break? Do they need a couple weeks off? Do they need to hit one shot where they're like, that's it? Like what? These guys golf every day. They hit so many balls. What do they need to get out of that funk?
I think you do need a little break, and each guy probably needs something different. Some guys need to coach a little better, or to find that right key, that one swing. Weirzy said today, he said, he just found something on the putting green before he went out. All of a sudden he sank like 3 from 15 feet and 20 feet or something. So it can be as simple as one shot. Taylor Pendrith has played 5 tournaments in a row. Finished up at the PGA. Then he went to his best friend's wedding in Miami for 4 days, and now he's back here playing another 5 weeks in a row. So I think there's a big part of this is burnout.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to we talked about it yesterday. Like these are pros. This is their job. But these are 5.5-hour rounds where you're showing up a couple hours before your tee time, maybe working out, stretching.
You're at the golf
range,
course all day.
Putting. Exactly, all day. And if you're late early or whatever, you may go to the range after, go get something to eat. You're here the next day. Like, it's a lot, man. You're on the back 9. You got to close, make a cut. And it's like, I've been out here for 7 hours already. And how many times have I swung my club already?
Not at Kirky's course.
That's true.
Pro?
It's quick. At Pro's course, it moves quick.
Monday you fly, and Tuesday, if you're one of the guys here, Tuesday you're probably like the top guys were at an RBC event, off-site RBC event. Wednesday they're playing in the Prime. They get 9 holes in and get to the first tee on Thursday morning. So like no wonder Rory hasn't seen the back 9 here. But, it's the same.
Rory's schedule is quite unique. It's a lot different than everyone else's. It seems like the first 3 or 4 days, whatever it is, he's here at 6 a.m., leaves at 9, and you don't see him again. There's other guys that have been here all day.
Yeah. Like we saw like Bo Hostler on the way up. He was in the morning run of the Pro-Am, I believe. I saw him on the course, and then I went to like a dinner and I left. He was on the putting green. I swear he was here for 12 hours yesterday.
Some guys can do that. Some guys will just sit out here. Bryson DeChambeau is always the last guy to leave the range.
The king of all back in the day was Vijay Singh at Sawgrass. I would play at 7 a.m. with my buddies at Sawgrass numerous times, and he would be there, and we would put on a drinking clinic at the course for hours and leave at 9 or 10 at night. VJ's still there.
Yeah.
That guy was a machine in his prime.
Yeah.
Machine.
Well, and he played every week.
He did.
He worked and played. He just never went home.
The best story.
VJ hated going home.
My first ever interaction with him, he just told the security guy, he was like, Mr. Singh, these guys are going to tee off and then you're going to go. And he just looked at him and said, move that pylon, I'm going. And I was like, okay, buddy.
I went to a party at his house one time at the Players' Championship, and we went down into his basement, and he had a room. It's about the size of this thing, I would say. We're in right here right now. The entire wall was lined with putters. And he looked at it and he said, I said, how many putters in here? He says, I don't know. He says, but I have played a PGA Tour event with every single one of these putters. And there must have been 1,000 putters
really?
in there.
Wow.
So he changes it every week. He puts a new one in his bag.
It just seemed like it.
Yeah, and if you touched one of them, he'd have you kicked out.
Yeah, probably.
That's the best part. One, he hasn't played in 20 years, but do not go close to that putter. All right, Bob. Well, we'll see what comes of it this week. I mean, you got any inkling now that we're into day one? Do you like Sammy Burns? Do you like McIlroy? Where are you at going forward here?
I like the Sean O'Hare story. It's a great one. Last guy in the field and hadn't seen the course before he teed off and shot a nice little 7 under. I don't know. Sam Burns would be due for I don't count out Rory, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert McIntyre, Bob McIntyre, my boy. He's 5 under.
A lefty in Canada.
Lefty in Canada. I love it. He's 5 under. He's still on the course. He's only through 10. Ryan Palmer's a good player. He's at 5 under. Zach Blair, my boy. I played the Pro-Am with him, Bob. Whoever I play with goes low. Zach Blair 3 under. I told you guys, T40 was plus money.
That's true.
It's free money.
You called
He may not win it, but he's
it.
a T40 lock, Zach Blair. My guy. All right, Bob. Great seeing you.
See you guys.
There's Bob Weeks, golf reporter, golf insider here with TSN. He'll be out here at the RBC Canadian Open all week. We're live on the 13th tee, the rink hole, here at Hamilton Golf and Country Club. James Duthie coming up around the table. Steve Sands will join us later this afternoon. We're live on TSN Plus right now. We'll be up on TSN 2 a little bit later this afternoon. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. James Duthie will join us around the table in about 15 minutes. Steve Phillips coming up. Tough scene for Alek Manoah last night. Has to leave the game in the second inning. Elbow issues, which is just a nightmare to hear. And
That is a nightmare. It's like you just started turning the corner and that happens.
Right, and like he addressed it afterwards, and you don't want to jump to conclusions because you don't know. But the guy knows his own body, obviously. But injuries have been a part of the problem. Like they were an issue in the spring. He didn't have a spring training, and then once he finally got his shoulder going, it was a struggle for a while. They gave him a chance, and to his credit, he took advantage of that chance, and he was pitching really, really well. Like a lot better anyway.
Yeah, better. Like
in Detroit, it wasn't great.
It's 4 starts that he basically.
But he had strung together a couple of good starts. His last outing in Detroit wasn't great, but yesterday he has 3 strikeouts. He's rolling. They're in the second inning. The Jays sweep the Sox. They're feeling good. And he's got to leave, and you could tell he realized, like, if he's injured again, who knows what this is going to mean for him.
Career-wise.
Like, you don't want to be, like, hyperbole, you want to keep in check. But this guy felt like he was pitching for his career every single outing.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if you lose your stuff. It's another thing if you're just a guy that can't stay healthy. And then if you marry the two, where
That's
the
what
stuff is
he's had
unpredictable
both.
and the injuries are unpredictable, you could be in big trouble.
Down a road.
And the thing-
You could be in big trouble.
The other thing I think of, too, is physically he looked really good. Like he'd lost weight. He looked in really good shape. He's a big guy. What is he, 6'6", 2 whatever.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big guy, big, strong, powerful man. But he looked in really good shape. You get injured, you can't work out. You can't, it'll take you a while to get back.
Yes.
It's almost like you're back to square one because, when you're in good shape, you're maintaining it, you're feeling good about your body, you're eating right, you're working out. When you get injured, all that, you can still eat right, but you're not able to, like, stay physically on top of it.
Well, it's a mental grind too, right?
Right.
Like this is what a lot of athletes, you guys can speak to it. Like physically, obviously, it's tough and it sucks, and you realize, okay, I'm falling behind here. I want to stay on top of things, but it's really easy to get sucked into a dark place.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we were talking about Darnell Nurse. It's like the universe is against me. Pucks are finding me and going in. What am I supposed to do right now? And if you're Manoah, you're like, it's been very challenging. People have been doubting me. I got back in the rotation. I've been pitching well, and now my body fails me. It can spiral quick.
Especially when you get into a groove, he's starting to pitch better, and he's like, probably saying to a doctor, I want to do this to kind of keep my rhythm. And he's like, can't even do anything. Can't throw a baseball for a month. You're basically screwed, man.
Well,
Yeah,
let's
and we'll
see
find out
comes
what
of it.
happened.
Yeah.
I mean, they're off today. They're back in action tomorrow. We'll see what kind of info comes out. But
I always think it's weird. Like they announce elbow discomfort. Mm-hmm. That's not, like you said, they know their bodies. Like
yes.
that's some.
That means an
go
MRI is coming, and they're going to figure out what's going on. And if it's really bad, like I don't want to jump to conclusions, but if you're talking surgery or whatever,
Tommy
John's a year and a half. Yeah, Tommy, you're out for a year and a half, and then you got to restart the whole thing. And again, we're all knocking on wood for this guy. We're all hoping that's not the case. Like his redemption story is great.
Like, that's maybe worst case scenario, obviously, year and a half. But just think about how far away that would be from him pitching great.
Yes. Yeah, if you include all of last year.
It's going to be like a 4.5 year span or something from his best years.
Yeah,
so it's like, when do you recapture that?
It's not going to be easy. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. We should point out Aaron Badley is currently on the tee.
He just hit while we were yelling. Like we were at full speed. We've been whispering for everybody. For Badley, we took it up a notch. And the caddy was horse-eyeing up.
That's what
and
he's
the refs got the arms up right now, telling us to close our yap.
Well, you know what I find interesting about, and I heard on the broadcast them pointing to it earlier today. is the quiet please from the quiet police, like the security, the refs, is so loud.
Right.
Like they yell, quiet please. And
that's the only way you get people's attention. They're not smart enough to understand that when the hands go up, you got to be quiet.
You're
They're
right.
Like, I'm doing my own thing here.
But sometimes I've seen players say, hey, I'm set and you're yelling quiet please.
True.
You're supposed to be quiet.
I've seen a player get mad at the marshal. So
oh, yeah.
You really need to say
I
that.
saw it up close and personal a couple years ago at St. George's.
Yeah.
There was a guy, actually the caddy went over. Guy was lined up on his putt, right beside around the green guy. He was yapping, and then the quiet please guy was talking to around the green guy.
Yeah.
Basically saying, you need to shut up. And whoever it was, Mark Hubbard or something, I shouldn't name. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
Lined up and is ready to putt. And then the guy goes, quiet, please. And he falls off the ball. Like he steps off the ball, and his caddy goes over to him and goes, you can't yell quiet, please, when he's about to putt.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So he's telling the quiet please guy to quiet,
you have to
please.
be quiet.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, these are all volunteers. They're all like, it's not done with malice intent or anything.
No.
They're not there to screw people.
I know, but
His
the
back
one
was
thing,
turned.
the one thing that's most important is when the guy's putting. If you're located by the green,
yes, like you got to say quiet, please, while the guy's reading his putt.
Yeah.
When he's addressed the ball, if you're yelling quiet, please, that's a little bit off-putting.
you're looking for a fight.
Yes, there's going to be a confrontation.
I was on a field trip with my son's grade 1 class today. They've got all these sayings. Like it's mac and cheese, quiet, please. Like
kids, really?
Oh, yeah. So
like the teachers have that.
The teacher yelled out. The kids were getting very loud, and the instructor wanted to say to the kids, so that all of a sudden the teacher just yells, mac and cheese, and then the kids go, quiet, please. So they sit there. Like they understand.
I like that.
Of course, I'm just yapping away with another parent. I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that they've got to shush.
Right.
Basically, like that's what happened. They've got all these sayings. I don't know what. It's just quiet, please.
Just quiet, please. And again, it's very cordial. It's all done for the right reasons.
And you have to have the understanding that there's some people here that have had 15 cold beers.
And that's what they're really looking out for, is to make sure that everyone's on their best behavior. And again, so far it's been great. We're day one of the RBC Canadian Open. We mentioned Manoah, and Steve Phillips will join us in 40 minutes. We'll talk about Manoah, the Jays sweeping the Sox. They're off today. They got the Pirates tomorrow. But the scene in New York with the Mets, this Jorge Lopez scene last night, and he's been designated for assignment. If you haven't seen it, he came in late. They were getting smoked. And Ohtani hit one to Mars, and then Lopez had an issue with a check swing call that was correct. It wasn't an Angel Hernandez jam job.
Yeah.
He chirps, he gets tossed. On his way out, he throws his glove into the stands, which I don't recall ever seeing a Major League player do.
Right.
Like, that's a serious protest in someone that is so bent out of shape.
That's not the worst thing in the world, though. It's not normal.
I'm just saying, I don't recall seeing someone throw a glove. Like their glove. That's what an 8-year-old would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like someone throwing their glove into the stands. It's not going to hurt anyone. And, of course, there was guys in the crowd grabbing it, and they're so happy. They're like, hey, we got a glove. It's like catching a ball.
I was waiting for somebody to get hit by the glove, and all of a sudden they got a neck brace on. And they're going to sue the guy, right?
That is possible. Down there, the litigious nature of the United States. See here, he's all bent out of shape. Here's the video. I know we're not up on TV.
He gets tossed, though.
So he gets tossed, and he goes, screw this. Get rid of this thing. And he throws it pretty high. There's no one in the stands. Like, the Mets they're a disaster right now. And actually, we should have mentioned, you asked me about people that would really get a bad reaction in New York. Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, is not far behind James Dolan right now.
You're
in terms of people hating on Cohen.
That's a guy that just bought a team and he's too involved and it's a gong show.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm going to spend more than everyone and I'm going to win. And actually, your team stinks and you're just wasting
You're worse
money.
than ever.
And everyone already has turned on you. It's crazy, which I thought was impossible considering the previous owner, like Will Pon and Bernie Madoff was involved. That's how bad it was in the past. But here's what Lopez had to say afterward. This is his scrum. So he gets kicked out, throws his glove, and then does a scrum, and this is his back and forth with the media last night.
Carlos Mendoza said that he understands the emotion, but that particular action of throwing your glove into the stands was unacceptable. Looking back on it, do you regret doing that?
No, I don't regret it. I think I've been looking the worst teammate probably in the whole MLB. So, whatever happened. So. Whatever they want to do it. I'm ready to come back tomorrow, and if they want me to be here, so I'll be here.
Ray, just to clarify what you said, just because I didn't fully understand. Did you say I'm on the worst team? Is that what you had said?
Yeah, probably. It looked like.
And they don't want him back. They designated him for assignment. But imagine being asked, do you regret throwing your glove? No. And then your reasoning is, I'm on the worst team in Major League Baseball.
I'm on the worst team here.
And if they don't want me,
we think it's funny, and it is funny. You can't deny that it's funny. But for him, for future jobs,
His career.
someone's going to look at that and say, how could we possibly bring that guy aboard? Because if there's another incident like that, someone's going to say, how did you not know that was going to happen with what he's done in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you question what's going on, what's the history, and I'm not aware of it all. None of us are, but it also speaks to like the Mets. They're destroying morale.
We beg for people to be honest.
Yeah.
That's an honest answer right there. I'm on the worst team in Major League Baseball.
I
don't care about throwing my glove into the stands. He probably should have followed up and said, there's 8 people there anyways.
Right. No one's here.
Nobody's
we stink.
here.
We
I don't
suck.
care.
Worst team in Major League Baseball. Sorry, you want me to follow it up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Write it down. Put it in the paper. Whatever you want. I'm not rescinding this.
Today you got the gate, though.
And then the Mets, well, it was almost like they had to. Like, you do that, you say that, and you follow up with, like, I guess I'll be here tomorrow if they want me. You're basically challenging them to say you got to go.
Yeah.
So Jorge Lopez out with the Mets. Steve Phillips on that more in the next hour. James Duthie will join us around the table. Get JD's take on the Oilers win last night. We got Game 5 back in New York tonight, Rangers-Panthers, and his thoughts on the Cup final, Game 7 possibly being handed out June 24th. June 24th is the scheduled Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. James Duthie, Steve Phillips into the next hour. We're live at the RBC Canadian Open. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN Plus.